Within3 is the industry standard virtual engagement platform for pharmaceutical and medical device teams. Meaningful engagement, more effective discussions, faster decisions. Within3.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dario from Next Pharma Summit, and welcome to our third episode of Next Talks. Today we are having Florent Edouard, the Senior Vice President from Grünenthal, in charge of global commercial excellence. Florent, hello, how are you?
Hi. Well, I'm good. I'm like, a little bit everyone. I'm grounded. I can't travel, but I'm working more and longer hours than before. So, yeah, it's good. It's okay.
Thank you very much. Let's start with the questions which we prepared today for you. They are, of course, quite interesting based on the research which we did on the insights and through different channels. And the first question which I would like to ask you is, originally you joined Pharma from finance and consulting, right? Did such change trigger a cultural shock?
Yes. Well, yes, a big one. First, I was really surprised that to find an industry like pharma where the analytical level was so low. And I say that thinking mostly about the commercial functions, because I found that excellence in analytics is in R&D, but not in the commercial function. So that was the first cultural shock, where I was coming with a background of numbers and data and dashboarding and performance management that had to be real time, and I didn't find that. But on the other end, I found a purpose. That was also a big change. That when I was working in banking, you are there to make money. So you tell your kids, I'm working every morning, waking up just to make more money for people. And when you go into healthcare, you are there to save lives. You are there to improve the life of patients. So that gives you a purpose. So yeah, that was a cultural shock, deeply, really.
Very, very interesting. Next question. In some ways, we see that the Japanese culture influenced you, and we all know that they have some very brilliant and unique leadership styles. What lessons can we learn from their leadership models and styles?
Well, so there, I think we would need a couple of hours to discuss the topic, because so I spent 4 years in Japan, working there, and I think Japan is a fantastic place to live. It's probably one of the best places on the planet. The culture, the quality of life, the nature, everything it's amazing. It's amazing. And working there is difficult for non-Japanese people, but I think also for Japanese people. And that was really interesting for me to look at how they manage and how they lead. And we got all those cliches, like the Japanese take a lot of time to get agreement, and then when they agree, they go into execution mode very rapidly. But that's true. And you have to adapt to their style, because otherwise you come out as abrasive, disruptive, annoying, and they start to go around you. So you start to have a culture where they put you in a shell. There is alignment meetings without you before on what you are going to be told, and there is alignment meeting after to agree on what they told you, and that's how the story is written. So you're completely isolated. But what I took from them is the confirmation and the certainty that there is a time for discussion, and there everyone should say what he has to say, and then there is a time for execution. And when you come to execution, then there is no more discussion possible. That's very, very important. I also learned the value of diversity. There is a challenge in Japan, which is this is a very male-driven culture in business, where people work very long hours, and it's very difficult for females, for instance, to have a career at the same time as having a social life and being a mother. And I think that's something that sadly make them lose opportunity, and bringing more diversity could really enrich them. And that's been one of my fights when I was in Japan, to come to diverse team from all type of diversities. And bringing that back to here, I think that's fundamentally where we are good, is to try to push that diversity in the organization.
I actually read, correct me if I'm wrong, but I read on a couple of sources that they don't have a unique word for leadership. That leadership can be explained, but there is no single word to speak about leadership. Is this true, or?
So honestly, the Japanese language remains a mystery to me even after 4 years. I had lessons, and just story, I was happy to be able to count, and I was very proud of myself to be able to count to 1 billion, ichi, ni, san, nanana. And then my teacher told me that, okay, that was one way of counting, but that they had 13 ways of counting, depending if you were counting numbers and things, or wet stuff, or spiky things. And I was like, okay, that's not a language for me. So yeah, the wording is very, very important, and they have 3 alphabets as well, so that makes the things very complicated. But at least it becomes very, very precise.
Thank you. Next question. You're quite famous for product launch and what you did, of course, with Grünenthal, but also with many other companies. But can you maybe mention the best product launch ever made?
Ooh, that's a difficult one. Well, I've got two. I've got two in mind that we did when I was in Japan. One of them is an oncology product for lung cancer, and I think this is, well, we had a good product, you know. So at the base, I think it's difficult to make a good product launch if you don't have a good product. But we had a good product, and the team really prepared really upfront with a lot of work, with talking to the customer, to understanding what were their needs, talking to the patients, and really preparing all the ground for successful launch. And now it's a product that is really helping patients, that is bringing in a fundamental shift in the therapy, and we were really proud. And what was really interesting is to see Japanese patients coming to us and saying, you know, you have this on your global website, and this is a community for patients, and that's really important for me, but I don't speak English right, so can you please bring that to us in Japan, in Japanese, so I can talk to other patients. And that, you know, when you have that level of demand from patients, you're suddenly, okay, maybe we are doing the right thing. And that's very important, keeping the patient in mind and the customer at the heart of what we do.
Thank you. Next question. Seems like competitiveness is embedded in your DNA, but how you keep such pace of this style and approach?
I think my job, if you take a circus, there are a lot of stuff. There are the guys flying and the guys with the animals and all that. I see my job as the guy who has sticks and who has plates. And the plates need to keep turning, and you may carry multiple sticks. And the way to stay competitive is to always add new plates and keep all the plates turning. I mean, you need to never be satisfied with the status quo. The world around us is changing. We saw it with COVID, for instance, you know. And then you need to react, and you need to be bold, and you need to take risks, and you need sometimes to fail, and that's fine. As long as what you do is designed to learn, then failing is a win, because you're going to learn from it and you're going to do things differently. And that's, you know, never being, okay, well, I've done everything that I have to do. There's nothing to, it doesn't exist. Maybe it exists in art. Maybe, you know, the Mozart Requiem has been played 10 million times, and some people are very happy with what they've done, but you will always have people saying, no, we can do it better, we're going to improve it. And I think that's our job, also specifically in commercial excellence, to always push, to always ask, can we do more, can we do better, can we do more?
Very interesting. I would say it's very similar like sports, especially like tennis, for instance. You need to repeat it, you need to make faults, and after that learn out of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, on this one there, Cristiano Ronaldo is really an interesting example, because this guy is probably one of the most talented football players on the planet, but he's also one of the most hard-working person in sports. And it's not enough for him to be on the top and to making millions and to scoring fantastic goals. He's early at all the training, is the last one leading the training, and is working like crazy in between. And I think that's that relentless pursuit of improvement. It's not a question of being perfect. It's just a question of being better than yesterday.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Let's move forward to the next question, which is which moment in your professional career shaped your leadership style?
Ooh, well, there were a few. I think there were some moments and where I've met some people who have inspired me. Some people, I don't know, like, but I won't give names but some inspirational leaders who have shown me by their leadership style that you could have a deep impact on an organization and that you could lead the people, making them grow. I think that was really important. An inspirational leader is great, but if he's alone on his planet, then nothing really moves. I think there was that, but there was also one thing that was really important for me. There was one of the first leadership conference that I went to, and so I was just joining that big pharma company, and I went into that room, and they had on stage a patient, and that patient was talking about schizophrenia, and he was talking about all those voices he was hearing in his head that were destroying his life and making him impossible to decide what was real, what was wrong, what was, what he had to do, and the impact that the drug that we were selling at the time was having on him, like silencing those voices. And that makes you think everything we do in terms of leadership needs to be attached to a higher purpose. And if you strive for something that is a higher purpose, that is beneficial for all, then people are going to follow you. And that, yes, I'm a pace setter. When you take all the leadership styles, people will tell you my dominant trait is pace setting. But the visionary aspect of things, saying we can do better, we can be a better organization, we can help patients, we can help people in their life, is fundamental. And I think I'm always bringing things back to that. Why are we doing what we do? If we are doing it for a salary, we should just change industry. Which doesn't mean I don't want a salary, okay? The salary is welcome, of course.
That's from the business side, of course, but let's speak about the family side, which is that family, of course, triggers the best out of us. But did family, and in particular your children, change your leadership style, and in some way, and which way?
Yeah, that changed it a lot as well. I think I've learned. I'm in a particular situation. So I got two kids, but I'm French, and I was born and raised in France, following the French educational style, which is you sit, you listen, you write down what the teacher says, you don't ask a question, and if you say something, it has better be very intelligent and unknown for all, otherwise you get hammered. That's a style of education that is proven efficient, but which is not very inclusive. And my kids have been living all their life and being raised in international schools, which means now they are doing the IB curriculum, and they learn to become learners before learning anything. And the power of that for a team leader like me is to see that, in fact, people become better on the long term if you create the conditions for them to learn by themselves rather than you telling them what they have to do. That's the basis of the good coaching, but it also makes you take a longer perspective, because if you tell them, do this, do that, do like me approach, they will do like you the next week. But they will never go above that. Where if you try to work with them on a longer term perspective, they will go above what you can define. So that has deeply influenced me.
So they should find their own path, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely. And at the end of the day, they enrich anything that you can teach them. And as my daughter was telling me, I don't see the point of learning like you did all the names and the kings and the queens and the date of birth and date of death for those guys, because Google knows it. And I will always have access to Google. So what's the point? Which is
Thank you, Florent. Let's move forward to the last section, which are the quick fire questions, where we will ask a question and we just need a short answer. And this part is, of course, very interesting to everyone. And the questions which we prepared for you are, of course, based on your persona. And the first one is, when did you send your first email, and do you remember to whom?
So I think it was in when I was at university, so a long time ago, like 86, something like that. And it was to a guy who was working on artificial intelligence somewhere in the US, if I recall well.
Okay, very interesting. Best investment ever made?
Trading cards. So, you got people like in the US who are collecting baseball player and basketball player trading cards. And I bought a trading card in a shop, so in a pack for less than €1, and I sold it some years later for more than €15,000. So I've never had that return on investment.
Okay, that's very good. Commercial or IT?
Commercial, definitely.
Role model?
Role model, well, I've got my CEO, Gabriel. I got the CEO of AstraZeneca, Pascal Soriot. I got a certain number of people. Not everything they do is perfect, but they all have, all those leaders, Jeff Bezos and others, they all have a trait that is interesting and that you can learn from and that you can apply.
Best country you ever visit?
Italy. If I had to retire somewhere, making sure that life is good, food is good, weather is good, that would be Italy or Japan.
So maybe the next question is linked to the previous one, which is you will retire and live in?
So I would retire currently in Japan because they are the best prepared to manage the flow of elderly people.
Okay, favorite global leader?
In terms of politics, so well, that's a very good question. I don't know. Favorite global leader, I would say in terms of business, for me would be Jeff Bezos. In politics, those days are really struggle, even if we have better ones than 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can underline that. And last quick fire question. First thing you will do when we go back to normal?
I will have a party with my team. I think that's very important that we are able to get together and we can work and we can analyze what happened and we can really have a few drinks, good food, team building, sports, whatever, something like that. But that's the first thing we will do.
Okay, we are also expecting the invitation, so the address will be sent later.
Of course.
Okay, Florence. So thank you very much for this very interesting talk. It was a pleasure. And follow us on our YouTube channel for the next episodes of Next Talks. Thank you very much and take very good care.
Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Within3 is the industry standard virtual engagement platform for pharmaceutical and medical device teams. Meaningful engagement, more effective discussions, faster decisions. Within3.